The Hypixel Forums. We all love them. Well, loved them, with that ED part being in giant air quotes. What ended up happening to these forums anyway? In the past, the forums were a place of wonder. There was a sense of community, there were lots of ongoing, interesting discussions, and there were tons of places people could really contribute their time into something they loved. Today, nothing but a wasteland of constant pools of toxicity, gatherings of number spamming, and just an overall lack of care from the community. Why did the forums become this? How did they get to what they are today? Well, I don't have a perfect answer, but I do have some thoughts. To get to those thoughts though, we first have to go back to the very beginning, back when I first joined the forums. Back in 2013, when I was just a baby on the forums, things were a lot different back then than they are now. People today like to look back and think that the forums then were flawless. Well, that's not necessarily the case. It wasn't this perfect wonderland everyone made it up to be. Toxicity still existed, people were still a little rude, but I like to think the main difference between the site now and the site today is the size. Back then, there were not that many people that were active on the site. For one, it made it extremely easy for the staff to interact with the community on a more active basis, and not in the way of things as soon as possible. I mean, like how an actual person would talk to another person. Not only that, literally every section on the forum was public. Staff applications, hacker reports, even the infamous ban appeal section. Some things just never change. Back on topic though, everything being public meant people could connect with more people. If someone made a hacker report, you would get instant feedback from other community members as to whether or not they think you made the right call. Awesome, right? Well, not exactly. This old setup also gave a chance for the person you were reporting to potentially see you reporting them. This would often result in a lot of unnecessary and exaggerated fights that we've come to love as flame wars. So sometime in 2014, staff apps, reports, and ban appeals were all set to staff view only. You could still submit them, obviously, but you couldn't see or respond to anyone else's. As necessary of a change as it was the first of many that would send us a message as to what the forums would eventually become. I like to think 2015 was among one of the better years for the forums content-wise. 2014 didn't really bring anything new, but not only did we get because it is so damn strong. The site also got a massive overhaul back at the beginning of that year. Not only did we get additional ratings other than the like rating, we were also introduced to the current in-game linked content you see today. This included the ability to link your account, see your in-game stats right on the site, as well as access to leaderboards without the use of a site like Plank or Max Core Law. It's pretty neat. I believe it was around that point as well that the separate game forums were added. While I was hopeful for the future of the forums, I didn't truly know what lay ahead when it came to the game forums. The game forums meant that the game's particular community could all gather together in one section. While this brought many great things like a community full of awesome and wholesome TNT players, it also brought us a community filled only with Mega Walls players, and one with Blitz players. This would end up not doing a lot of good. As good of a game as Mega Walls and Blitz are, they were also kind of infamous for their unhealthy amounts of toxicity. That overflowing cesspool of it from these two communities would somehow find their way into other community sections, and the addition of dislikes and disagrees as ratings did not make things any better in these scenarios. Flame wars were hourly, with certain threads, like a picture of a puppy burning, taking upwards of 40 minutes to get deleted. Yeah, that actually did happen, by the way. Fortunately, all of that eventually cooled down, and we moved into 2016. 2016 would end up being the last year for the forums getting any major additions to them, with the new media section. While not everyone really used it all that much, it was a nice addition to the number of artists that were in the community. Before, they really had nowhere to share their art. Apart from the MVP++ forum, introduced about a year and a half later, there has not been any new forum content since. It would be around 2017 that the like spam trend started going around. What would happen was users would find every single message they could and leave a like rating on all of them in an effort to be the user who's given the most likes. While many of them claim they were doing this to bring positivity to the forums, all this truly did was encourage spamming, and soon tons of people were doing the same thing. A user could have 100 or so likes, then overnight he would have 15 million of them. It was a really unhealthy thing, I feel, that ruined the meaning of ratings for nearly everyone on the site. Most of these people today actually ended up being banned for toxicity, though some of them do still lurk around from time to time. You also had the prototype lobby and Bed Wars be introduced, which did bring a giant wave of people to the forums, albeit not many of them in a positive way. Now that brings us to today. Where are the forums today? What do I think of them today? Well, my answer might be a shock to some people. Don't get me wrong, there are indeed still copious amounts of toxicity. There's even a bunch of people that have made it their goal to number spam and have somehow reached 30,000 posts in half a year or something like that, starting to make posts become as irrelevant as ratings. Even with all of that going on, I still think there's plenty to like here. Near the beginning of the year, I made a sort of rant thread regarding wishing for a change to the forums. To my delight and to my utter shock, Simon responded with a bunch of promising things, including a Twitter follow for contacting any potential changes that could happen for a future forums update. And while it's been nearly a year since then, I do still have faith. Skyblock did just come out, and it's brought the player count to monumental numbers, so literally everyone is busy with that right now. Today, I still continue to be active on the site, as well as some others who may be coming back. Yeah, the forums back in 2013 was smaller, more memorable, and full of life, but the forums today also have those same qualities, just not as memorable and a whole lot bigger. They can absolutely still be fixed, but for the time being, I think the forums are going to probably stay this way for a little while longer. That's not 100% a bad thing. Refocus your time on the pluses of the forums, probably won't even notice anything wrong with them. And on that note, post on, fellow forumers. Hey guys, it's Sykese again. Quick thank you to everyone for being so patient with me. I am sorry that it took so long for another video to be uploaded to this channel. This type of video was a first for me, and a lot went into it. I like to hope to make more of these kind of videos in the future, and hopefully make them a lot better than this one was. For future content, you can expect my playthrough of Diversity with Ali to continue soon. I know I said those were going to be daily uploads, but a lot of things happened on both sides. Needless to say, those will be back up and running again soon. Bye for now.